Okay, for the bath call out, show you my crop region is pretty close there. And what I did with this one is I came in here and I went into my managed view templates and then I selected my kitchen bath and I went down here to copy or duplicate and I created a new one and called it bath cabinet plan. Okay, and I'm going to leave that at a half inch. So I've got it set, but the thing that changes on this one is my visibility graphics. I turned off countertop, but I turn, okay, sink openings off. Yeah, that's right. It's plumbing fixtures I turn back on, okay, because I want to be able to see the actual sink, okay. And so I created that and then applied that view template to my bath, okay. And same thing with tags. I did the tagging for the cabinets, but you got to, even though the countertop is turned off, it may toggle onto it. So you may have to tab to get through, but I wanted to tag the cabinet and it's a vanity sink base 42 by 30. Okay, and then that's, not a lot of text involved on that one. So that's setting up the bath call out. Okay, and we'll place that on a sheet somewhere else. Okay, and all right, so our drawing sheet. This is my first floor plan. I call it sheet A3, first floor plan for the title. I brought in my floor plan and once I get ready to, go to print with this thing and I've got things done, I'm going to make some more changes to the visibility graphics and then I'll turn off my grid lines and I'll turn off reference planes. But right now I'm leaving them on. It's a temporary thing, okay? Now, we want to do a section through the stairs. And let me just go to my first floor plan instead of the drawing. Okay, so having a hard time picking it. There. I put my cutting plane in through the stairs and then out through the back wall. And then I hit the little toggle in the middle here to create a gap in the segment. And then I drug those back a little bit so that it's not interfering with my view. But I get that in place, get it set up right, and then pin that so it doesn't move. And I renamed it to be stairway, stairway section. Okay. And then I'm adjusted my crop region so it's just above the handrails and just below the footings. One thing that it picks up the bearing footing under that rear wall, so I just selected it and hid it, okay, so that it's not visible. Oh, and I adjusted, excuse me, get back to here. I adjusted the depth, the view depth to hit like center of that wall going across there. Okay. And I still had to hide some things, like the door that shows up here, I hid that. The door that showed in here, I hid that. But it still leaves these lines where the wall is at. Down here in the basement, I selected those. There's like two wall pieces and a piece of gypboard wall that got applied there. I just selected them and hid them in my view. See, like there's one right there that can be hid. Okay. So I just hid those so they don't interfere with things. I put dimensional lumber you know, section details in on my joist across here, the sill plate, the plate there, the plate there, the plate there. I did plywood through the subflooring here because we're cutting through it. Same thing up here with some 2x4s. Don't mess with the gypboard section. The scale is so small, it's not going to matter, so don't even attempt to mess with that, okay? The text is, you know, fine. You can deal with all the text. The hard part with this one was getting this dimension in place. And so here's what I did. I drew a detail line here that is like tangent to one of the stairs, to the stairs. So I drew a detail line there. And then from the nose of one of the steps, let me hide this dimension and I will show you. So from the nose of the step where that tangent line crosses, I drew a detail line up until it intersected with the gypboard here. And I applied it a thin line style because I could not get any kind of dimension from here to here because there was no points. I couldn't get it in the midpoint of this. So the easiest way was to kind of fake it. I drew a line and then I applied a dimension to the line, from one endpoint of the line to the other endpoint of the line. And then I came in and did a text override of minimum 6 foot 10 inches for the top, and then below I said headroom. Okay, now you can see in my model it measured out as 6 foot 10 and a fraction of an inch. As long as you got over 6 foot 10 in yours, you know, something like that, you'll be okay with this as far as the model goes. But a minimum 6 foot 10. Okay. Let's see, and I added a framing there. I need to hide. How can I hide that? Unless I do a filled region. I'll have to look at that. I may end up doing a filled region there. I don't know. Anyway, okay. And instead of dimensioning the handrail, because when we built this thing, our handrail is set at like 36 inches. The plan says 32 on the drawings. And if we pull ours down 4 inches, it really messes things up here. So I did a note there and set it at 32 to 36 inches above stair nosing. Because according to the building codes, as long as you're within that range, you're okie dokie. Okay. As you can see, I turned off levels, turned off grids, applied dimensions and text here because that looks better than the levels. And I think that's all I got to say about the stairway section. Let me go back to my drawing sheet here. And I pulled it in. Okay, so everything's looking good here so far. It may have to move it around or tweak it a little bit, but I think we're looking good. There's your first floor plan. I think we're all good. And like I said, I haven't turned these things off, the grids and the reference planes yet. Eventually we will. Okay, you feel free to go ahead and turn them off now. That's not a problem. But as we're dealing with the roof plan, I know we're going to need them for that. And we may need them when we're dealing with building sections later on. But for now, we're okay with it. Sound good?